joined by George Johnson,
All right.
the great Brothers Johnson. How are you today, George?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to today and actually explaining some facts and truths about myself and Lewis that a lot of people would have never known growing up as kids. And,
You grew up right here in L.A.
Yeah, we grew up here in L.A. in the, South Central L.A. Not South Central, but around below Leimert Park.
Okay.
In that area off of Vernon and Cimarron.
Sure.
Around there. That's
The lightning licks and the thunder thumbs.
Exactly.
I love it. Now, how did you meet Quincy? How did that relationship happen?
We met Quincy through, well, actually, he put out an announcement on the radio that he was looking for musicians. A friend of ours, Joe Green, who actually was a singer and writer with Billy Preston, knew of me, and I was going around at that time trying to peddle our stuff around music, which we took at the A&M, and they shut us down a few times before. And he told Quincy about us, and then I was getting ready to join Wonder Love, taking me and Lewis into Wonder Love, Stevie's group. It was in Studio B at the record plants. Quincy was in Studio C around the corner. So he was coming to the studio when we were auditioning for Stevie, because I was hanging out with him a few times, and I was really into Stevie. I wasn't even into Quincy Jones. Okay. And he heard all this funk bumping off the walls and peeked in the door and looked in, and he went behind the glass in the studio control room and asked Stevie if, I don't know exact words, but he whispered in his ear and found out later. But then he left, and he was like, "What are you going to do with these guys?" And I'd like to develop them or whatever. And next thing we know, it was like 2 men in black guys came with ties and shit, and they came to retrieve me and Lewis, and they took us out of Stevie's studio straight into Quincy's studio. And when we opened the door, I heard all these lush strings and baskets of fruits and bigger studio, and my intuition just told me we're supposed to be here.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
And then, speaking of A&M, later when we started writing music, like for Mellow Madness, I wrote this Love That We Miss and trying to find out what is listen, and another one I can't think of now. But anyway, he had Herb Albert and Jerry Moss come to the studio and bring contracts. And it didn't really hit me because I thought it was like a songwriter kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he called a few days later. "Well, guys, George, how's it feel to be signed to A&M? I said, "Signed to? What are you talking about?" "Those are contracts that you got. You're going to be on A&M. I said, "Really?" So it's like, that's how much into music we were. We were going to the studio, and we was recording Good to You and Get the Funk Out My Face. We weren't even thinking about that would be on the radio. We wasn't there just jamming and just doing our thing and mixing, because I've always been into mixing too.
Yeah.
And just tweaking it how we want. Matter of fact, how Get the Funk ends, that was my idea, because I just cut the 2-inch master. Down, 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 bop. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Put a leader tape on it. Quincy said, "What happened?" We didn't want to stop it. And I said, "Well, now it's no question how it ends." "But you cut the 2-inch master." I said, "Well, hey, it ends."
That's unique, And Strawberry Letter 23. Now, Shuggie Otis had
That
recorded
was a song that Lewis.
How'd you find that one?
We found that through. I used to date. Well, my cousin told me she wanted to introduce me to this young lady who was his cousin. I went to her house just to kind of kick it and probably see if I can kiss her or whatever. And we were young, and Lewis was getting married. And I saw this album laying down, and he is my age. Shuggie and I, we hang to this day. And I said, "Well, who is that?" "Oh, that's my cousin, Shuggie." So she played me a cut off of it. It's like Ice Cold Daydream, and I loved it. And I said, "Well, can I use it?" He said, "Hey, you can have it." So I took the album, listened to it, and then listened to Strawberry, and then Lewis heard it, and he loved it, and he used that in his wedding to Valerie Johnson. Wow. And after we used it in his wedding, and I played it to Q, and then Quincy said, "Okay, well, yeah, we should do this." I told Q, I said, "We should do this song. And we'll turn it around, do what we got to do, but we need to do this." "Okay, no problem." He came over to my little apartment then, and I convinced him that we needed to do Strawberry Letter. That's how they got on the record.
Amazing.
You come in.
And what advice do you give to the young creative people? What do they need to focus on?
I would say for the young people, it depends on what capacity that they're going to play an instrument or be a songwriter. It just would depend. Because I would say for them to go forth and listen to the good writers, I'd even say go back to the old school. People like Ashford Simpson, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, who wrote a lot of the good songs. Any great songs, whether it was from Led Zeppelin, Chicago, Three Dog Night, who we were always into as well. And, you know, just have a variety of the best. A lot of these artists right now is mostly a mixture of marketing, and their longevity isn't as long. They're out for 1 or 2 hits, and then you don't hear about them anymore. So, you know, I really can't appreciate that. Even talking to people like Pharrell and people that copy a sample. You know, I mean, I don't look at him as an artist as I look at, say, a George Duke or a keyboard player or behind. You know, the 2 different things. They're not really creative enough to aspire to even come close, you know, to what they needed. I mean, they're almost like actors in a sense to me.
Yeah.
You know? So,
George, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I would
we
just
look
say
forward to talking more.
continue for them to continue doing what they do. Strive for it and reach for it and take it to the top.
We appreciate all the music you've given us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.